So glad to have you guys. And thank you to everyone else that is here with us live today. We've got about 14 people on the call. And again, apologies for the tech issue. If you did not get to catch us live, hopefully you're catching this replay because I think it'll be good. So we have Peter here, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at TaxDome. I think that's still your title. And let's just cut to the chase. It was a little bumpy over the last couple days. I know everyone was heightened stress because the tax season deadline of April 15th. And then there were some bugs got in the system, but they weren't just bugs. They were like serious security issues that you guys dealt with proactively. And I want to first commend you guys. I know there's a lot of people with some concerns about how it happened, but you guys were really looking out for everyone. And Monday was buggy, like the security stuff um, made it buggy. So
Yeah,
why don't you share with us kind of what happened, why
of
you guys
course,
made the decisions you made, and maybe where we're going.
of course. So, first of all, just for introduction, hey everyone, my name is Peter. I'm since 5 years with TaxDome. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer. And thank you, Jamie, for having me today. So, I just recommended make it proactive. So, if you have any questions and you want to have some answers from me, please put them in the chat, and I will be happy to address them then while I talk. But I'm gonna start explaining now what happened. So. As 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 at TaxDome we contain very sensitive data, and it's not only sensitive data from you, but it's from more than 4 million people around the world. Where they upload all the sensitive data inside TaxDome, so you can collaborate with them and with your clients. And as we have become bigger, we are now a more I think we are now more than 400 people at TaxDome, and we're worldwide known. We're the global lead in practice management. Um, we have become now more and more a target. And as cyber criminality is a big thing. It's growing. It's the fastest growing criminality around the world. So cybercrime is the fastest growing, uh, criminality around the world. And unfortunately, they knew that tax season is coming up. There will be a big traffic, and we and other tools have become the target this tax season. And we detected the attack very early and started to make measurements. And unfortunately, we had to make decisions to protect the data, but it influenced your own experience, where I call it we had to pull the plug. So what we had to do on Monday around 3 p.m. is we had to log out everyone out of the system. And this was around 4 million something users. And we had to do this because, those hackers, they found stolen credentials from the dark net. And they were, for example, let's say Jamie's email there. And what they did is they went with this email, went through all the public portals she is on, especially around tax, and try to reset the password nonstop. So that's why many of you got random emails from TaxDome. Hey,
Mm.
I'm reset my password, and Caroline would say, Hey Peter, I didn't even reset my password. I'm getting this email, for example. So that's why you did this, because those hackers, they went through all those 1,000 accounts and just request email, the password. So unfortunately, some of them were able, because they also went ahead and stole they bought from the darknet those passwords, those very, hello 1234. Please don't use hello 1234 as your password. And they managed, they wanted to access. But we have a security tool, it's called Cloudflare, which detects the IP address. If the IP address of the login is not the usual one, what we see, immediately we get an alert. So if, for example, if Caroline here in the call, we see that she logs in from China, well, then we exactly know that it's actually not Caroline. So we detect this immediately. But to stop this and to add another layer of security, we had to log out everyone, and you had to log in and reset your password. So this is what happened on Monday. So now imagine 4 million people doing this. So it created a lot of traffic on our servers. And that's why it become everything buggy, everything delayed. And for actually 1.5 hours, I think total, some of you experience a downtime. So this is what everything happened. But I just want to make sure that I communicate this now very as understandable as possible, but also as straightforward. This is a win. We won this fight. So we made the decisions to, I know it was not in your favor because it was the last day and everything, but we won this fight to defend and attack. And one thing I want to outline, and I'm not saying this now because I want us to make us look good, but we're the only one who communicates this. We know that other people and our companies had the same issue, but we're the only one who communicates this as transparent as possible. And I rather communicate this as transparent as possible and get the the bad words from you on the chats and everywhere, like what the heck we're doing again and everything. But I'd rather get this, and what's going on, than no, we're keeping secret about it, and you don't know what's going on. We're just buggy. So this is what happened. Good thing is it's solved. We are back on track, 100% speed again. Yesterday we still had some issues in the morning at 5 a.m. Eastern, but everything is good, and we have solved everything. Nonetheless, the attack is still going on. So the attack is, as we speak, people are still trying to get into your systems, but we are very, very strong setup. Remember, we are not a 20 team member software company. We're not a 30 team member. We're not a 50 team member like the other companies on the market. We are 400 team member firm where only our security team is probably as big as a tool, on the market you may evaluate. So please always think about, when you choose a system and how they communicate about these things and how they're prepared and how, heavy they are in around security. Cyber criminality is it's not a joke. As I mentioned, it's the fastest growing market currently. And I believe this is just the beginning, and we're prepared for this.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It is not going to get any better, guys. It's actually going to get worse. There's a lot of pullback on funding for the government in the States to help mitigate some of this stuff and prosecute people that are doing these kinds of things. So as that dwindles, this is only going to increase. There's a lot of money to be made out there on that market. And I just want to say thank you for the attention to the security. Thank you for willing to have mud thrown your way to protect everyone. And I also would encourage everyone that's watching this, when you see people that are, for lack of a better word, coming unglued on some of the social media stuff, remind them to go back and to look for communications from TaxDome. You guys were very proactive in posting into the community. I know an email followed up yesterday regarding kind of the whole situation, which was great. But remember that TaxDome has the community, and that's where they're being the most transparent. They're trying to find other channels to do that as well. I don't know if you can speak to that any, Peter, if you guys had any learnings from that. I know I saw a couple comments from people, but.
So absolutely. So one thing I can tell you, yesterday I sat down with our chief technology officer, and I told them that I want to have a banner on the portal. So next time when something happens, when you go on the portal to log in, there will be a banner of something, what's going on. So at the very beginning, you know already what's going on. So this was a learning for me. Another learning I had is shared responsibility. So I'm going to tell you now what I personally made this mistake. I should have made mandatory 2FA during tax season for all of you. But because you have come previously and said, please don't disturb us during tax season, or we listened, and we said, okay, mandatory 2FA after tax season. And this is the outcome. So it's my mistake. I take the responsibility on this, but I just want to make sure it's a shared responsibility between you and TaxDome. So if you think your clients, are not going to enable 2FA, or they're not going to use the secure portal, well, I just want to highlight you, then you will be even worse in place. Because an email or at the what's called the Microsoft one transfer. Those are
Mm,
much less secure tools. So if you go back to these tools, then you're even worse in place that the people will get. Just imagine how the IRS stated how many returns have been filed, by this year.
yeah,
It's like a record year. It's like 4 or 5x growth from last year.
yeah.
It's going to continue. Why? Because so many accounting firms are not using secure portals
Hmm.
and they have their returns all over the place.
Yeah.
So please make sure after this call, go into your TaxDome and enable 2FA also
Can,
for your clients.
can
They
we
do this
talk
anyway
about
already. Yeah.
Can we talk about
Mhm.
2FA real quick? Because one of the biggest challenges people have had was that there was only the only capacity of using the 2FA was through the authenticator, and that was causing problems for some of their less technical clients. I did see reference to this in the email. Can you talk to us about other options you guys are
Yeah.
coming out with for the 2FA and when those can be expected?
We're definitely working on several options. I don't want to share now, if it's gonna be SMS and the next one is maybe inside the TaxDome, to have a 30-second code every time generated. I don't know yet what option's gonna be first. I understand that some of your clients are not very tech savvy, but please remember they also have banking apps. They also have other apps where they need to use authentication processes. If they can use it there, they will be able to use it at TaxDome too.
Yeah. Do you know when the SMS option for the 6-digit code will become available?
I don't know.
It's in the works, though.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just don't want to make any promises because it's a very sensitive topic. So that's why, yeah, it's our priority.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's start first, to enable the 2FA, and then we will see how much of, if it's 80% or 50%, which hasn't enabled it, and then we will see which the next one rollout will be
Yeah.
to increase the number of 2FA implementation.
Yeah. Nancy's asking for a template on how to communicate. Nancy, I'd be glad to put that into the workflows group, a template if you would like to share that.
Mhm.
I think, all of you guys need to be thinking about how do we communicate these kinds of things? Like if this isn't part of your WISP, which is a requirement for most of you, if not all of you, you need to be thinking about when these kinds of things happen, what is my plan for communicating to my clients? And you guys need to be proactive. I think Peter's in a very great point of there is co-ownership in this. And I know it made a lot of you feel like your clients were upset, that it looked terrible. Yes, I'm not saying that that was not frustrating for a lot of people. But we need to make sure that you are thinking about how you can communicate this to your clients in the future by learning from this situation, right? And so I just want to add that.
And I just want to also add the point that Nancy thinks already so far and thinks about, okay, it's great. Now I have to communicate this to my clients. This is a great business thinking. So if you haven't communicated anything to your clients, do this as of today because you want to have this 100% client retention, client relationship with them. So over communication as we do it, and we need to improve, we recommend you to do the same because, we cannot act uh, as your firm towards your clients as much as we, think it would be good. We want to give you to leave it this ownership. So I really recommend you guys to, draft kind of a message. Jamie is going to post a draft into the community and send this out to your clients. They will appreciate this. And if you think like, this is going to make me look bad or this is just because of TaxDome, yes, I apologize. I apologize. This is because of us. But think, yes, no, there's no but. And think also about how many messages do they get from other tools? Amazon, Uber, banking apps, all those apps they use every day. They also got those messages, hey, when something happened. And I think they will also understand, appreciate you communicating this and
Mhm.
is explaining what was the issue with the logging in and password reset.
100%. 100%. Awesome. And can I just clarify one thing? Is 2FA now required for clients as well, or is that something that has to be toggled on manually by the firm owner?
Uh, it will be for everyone. Yeah. It will be for everyone. The
As of
toggle,
today?
I don't know how fast the update will be out, but definitely, in the next days. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and for those, who some workaround for those clients where you think that they're just not tech savvy, they will not do the 2FA, they will not log into the portal. Remember that we have also some features which you can do outside the portal. So, for example, requesting a signature. Yesterday I was till 3 a.m. by the way on the chat on our website. And when people came and said, hey, my client cannot log in, they need to sign their return, then I said, no problem. Just send them, request a signature per email outside of the portal. This is a feature of TaxDome. They
Yeah.
can do it. They can do this too. And on top of that, we are developing more features which will be able to be sent out through email. So, for example, if I send Caroline a email, a request to upload a document, she will receive an email and then clicks on it, and then we'll upload directly the document through the email and doesn't need to log in into the portal. So those are features which we are trying to roll out, which have the same security, but creates even a better user experience for clients.
Love that. Yeah. I appreciate you guys are looking forward to that. And Kristen called out a really important point. I believe 2FA is required for all practitioners with portals, per WISP and some of the other industry requirements that are now in place. So if you think that you can work around this and that you'll find something else that doesn't have 2FA, I don't think that is going to be the case in the long term, maybe in the short term. But this is the messaging around this needs to be, this is critical data that you are trying to protect, and 2FA is how we do that in the industry, banking industry, medical industry, so many places now. You have to have 2FA on. And that's because
Right.
this is getting more and more prevalent outside, like the attacks are more prevalent, and that's why people are going this route.
And it's going to become more and more. So I personally, I'm a lot in tech. I believe 2FA is just the beginning. I think Face ID, all those other things will be on top of all this secure portals mandatory of the next 12 months. There will be much more security coming in,
Yes.
led by the IRS, which I think they will be making big announcements this summer in the IRS tax forums.
Yeah, I agree. And Peter, so there was a point that this needs to be like, we need to communicate this to clients so that they can roll it out so that they can access their stuff. And a lot of people are now on vacation here in the States. Um, will you guys be posting like timelines and when this is going to be required for clients for the
Of
firm
course.
employees? That's like not a huge concern. Like they can manage that. But as far as their clients being blocked out of things,
Yeah.
what can we expect for communication from TaxDome around the plan for requiring?
In the next days, weeks, we'll definitely be communicating is very clear about the 2FA. We have already created a first help article that I just posted in the chat. Use this as a beginning, and we definitely want to create a communication template for you guys, how you can communicate why this has happened and how it also improves the client experience.
Okay. And currently, just so everyone knows, there are some steps that they have to go through with the authenticator and stuff. SMS is not currently a primary option with the 2FA. It is coming. And that TBD on the date of delivery on that change. But TaxDome has been known that that's a need since I think January. And I know you guys, your team has said that they've been working on it since then. So this is not something they're starting today. That has been in the works for a while
It's
now.
Yeah, just FYI, we have prepared this feature. I wanted to release it already before deadline, but then I gave in, and then we made the decision after the tax deadline to do this, to not disturb your processes.
Yeah, perfect.
So
Okay.
nonetheless, even if you think, we're getting, we have things going on, the good thing is, as I said, we have 400 people. So the other 180 developers, they've been working on new features. So Vedad is gonna now share his screen and talk a little bit about what's going on and what's happening, and I will Oh, no, actually, I have a call I have to jump, but there are also some new features coming. And with that, I allow you to give some spoilers around this too.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and explaining everything. We appreciate your time and your efforts.
Thank you.
I'll see
Thank
you
you all. Bye
soon.
bye.
Cheers. All right.
Uh, Hi there, everyone. I get shy when I have public speaking, so
Vedad,
don't.
nice to meet you. I haven't gotten to meet you yet. So
uh,
hello, welcome.
uh, Nice to be here, Jamie. I'm a solutions consultant here at TaxDome, and I'm also the CS team lead advisor that works for product. So it's my duty, pleasure, and privilege to talk to you guys here today. And I just want to share the latest updates with TaxDome and answer any questions along the way as well. So,
Well, thank you. And just so you know, we are a very gentle group. We will ask you lots of good questions, but you
that's
got
good.
Nico here, and Nico can probably attest. We're pretty good, but we will put you on the spot and ask you to, show us all the good stuff. So might twist your arm a little about giving us some sneak peeks, but that's as far as we'll go. So
No
thanks
worries.
for being here.
I like to satisfy all my clients, so believe me, I will try to talk within my legal boundaries of the stuff that's coming. Uh,
That's fair. That's fair. And Renan, where are you located?
oh, I am located actually across the big pond. I'm located in Bosnia, all the way,
Bosnia.
yeah, it's all the way in Europe. So
Cool.
if you ever stop by, I can show you guys the quality that I have in this country. It's mostly food, nothing else,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Cool.
But besides that,
Well, thanks for being here. Go ahead. I'll
yeah,
stop interrupting you. Let
yeah,
you do your thing.
no worries. So prepare for a little bit of public embarrassment. So here we go.
Ah,
Let me just share my screen with you guys. Let me see if I'm sharing the right one. Mm-mm-mm. So can you guys see my screen? Everything is
yep.
okay?
Yep, we can
Awesome.
see TaxDome.
Awesome. So there is something that I really want to show you, which is a little bit of a feature that I've been lobbying for quite some time. And the main purpose of that functionality is basically just to segment data properly. So the first thing that I'm going to discuss is the inbox plus time filter. So before, all of your inbox plus notifications were cluttered up. You couldn't sort ascending, descending, nor could you filter by a certain time frame. And I got this feedback a lot from admin staff. Usually admin staff work a lot with clients directly. They're, usually the first contact. And they just want to see, hey, I just want to see the notifications from last week. I just want to see the notifications from chat from last week. But they couldn't do that before. So we immediately moved into production. And now, when you want to filter by certain inbox plus notifications by a certain time frame, the only thing that you have to do is, for example, filter, and then you say from 1st of April till today. And then, for example, you just want to see either emails or jobs or new accounts, system, organizers, etc. You pick and choose, you hit apply, and then you get only the notifications
Mm.
that you selected from that specific data set from that specific time frame. And this helps a lot. And this, you know, the second it rolled out was the second, not the second, the day that I got an email feedback from one of the admins that I've been working with is just saying thank you. I like thank yous. But it's a small feature, but it's very good. So,
I
any
love
questions?
that. That's a huge win. There's gonna be a lot of people celebrating that one.
Believe me, a lot. So, any questions in relation to this functionality, or do you want me to just jump on to the
No,
latest?
I think that's great. You can go to the next one. That's
Okay.
pretty straightforward and but very helpful.
Okay. Awesome. So, one other thing that I also wanted to cover, I'm sure that Nico discussed this as well in previous calls in the March meeting, but just a little bit of an update. If you haven't noticed, when you want to circle down, narrow down by certain activity, by certain types. For example, if you want to narrow down all account related activity, if you want to narrow down all job related activity, if you want to narrow down all payment or payment setting related activity within your firm, the only thing that you have to do is go to the activity feed, and from there filter by type. And that segmentation point is going to narrow down by all of the, let's call them attributes. And when I say give me all of the job, account, login activity, it's going to narrow down and give me the time span of all of those activities when they started by specific type. So one of the reasons why we implemented this little activity feed that we're expanding on a weekly basis is to give you guys a greater insight, a global insight, if your team members are doing everything properly, if your clients are doing everything properly, just so you have like a front end and back end view of all of the actions by clients and all of the actions by your team members. So, for example, if you want to see what a certain team member is doing, if you want to see what actions are done in a certain way, there's always the activity feed. So the activity feed will always bring up data, bring up actions. So if there is breathing in TaxDome, TaxDome will record it. And this was asked a lot. And we're sorry, Jamie, to interrupt. We're also expanding the level of attributes visible here. So we don't have all actions for now. But a high request is who created a job, who archived a job, who deleted a job. So in due time, we're going to bring those actions in the activity feed. So if someone deletes a job in the future, you're going to be able to see who, when, and where did it.
Cool.
And there's going to be a lot to blame for that. The HR meeting's not going to be fun.
Yeah. No, I think for anyone that has a team, like having this kind of information available, it doesn't mean you're going to use it all the time, guys, but when you need it, it's there and it can be a huge game changer for you as far as the transparency into the actual actions. It's like an audit trail for anything else in TaxDome. This is just more detail than an audit trail can give you in a global view.
Exactly. And it's even better if they say that they didn't do it and you have the proof that they did it. That's on a personal level satisfaction. But there's also one little update that's actually not even a little update. It's a very good communication side update when it comes to automations. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there's this new option that when you go into the skeletal part of the pipeline, when you go into the pipeline view, for sending messages or for sending chats through TaxDome, now you have a job to set the job
Oh,
assignee as the
that's great.
sender. So before you could just basically send out a templated message per template. So I'm assuming that a lot of firms, if you have 5 team members handling client communication, you needed to have a specific tag for that person, and then you had to tag it, and then had to make sure that that client has a tag for the automation to launch. So it made things a lot more complicated and not scalable. So now, if the job assignee is the person who's handling the communication with the client, they can be the designated sender there as well.
Yeah, that's great. I know there's a lot of people that have been wanting that continuity of communication, so that'll be a huge help.
Awesome. And these updates are just going to keep coming. So
And
let
is
me,
this just to confirm, is this available to everyone now? Was that part of the last release?
it should be, yeah. So
Okay,
so when you double check in your pipelines, when you try to add or change a different automation, it should be
mhm.
available to everyone.
Great. Awesome.
Perfect. Let me see if there's Donna has a question. Will the activity feed show me if an invoice has been viewed? It should. Let me just double check in the activity feed. I even have a spreadsheet, but let's just filter down by types. Payments, invoices. So for now, there's deletion of invoices, but let me see if I uh, can see what actions are gonna be implemented.
Are you
So
guys keeping an updated list on the help desk for activity feed and all the things that are being added to it?
So we are trying to roll out updates with marketing emails and to what we release, and there's that little um, gift box icon on the firm portal with the
Hmm.
list. It should have these updates that are posted, but the thing is, we've released the activity feed as a continuous update. So with
Yeah.
every big change, we're gonna say these are all the things that we changed. But we release these updates almost like Nico knows, weekly by weekly. So every
Yeah.
week we add one, two, three. But when it comes to invoices right now, you can basically see who exported the invoices, who deleted the invoices,
Yeah.
but things we have lined up that are invoice created by automation, invoices updated by, invoice status changed by, credit supplied,
Hmm.
etc., invoice deleted by firm member, etc. So all of
There are
these
more
things,
internal actions happening than they are like client actions that are occurring at
exactly.
this time.
Exactly, exactly. And this activity feed is right now it's a little bit of a work in progress.
Hmm.
It's not saying it's not finished, but it's something that's going to be forever updated. Because as long as we have new functionalities or functionalities that we want to expand, we're going to have them in the activity feed. But it's a work in progress for now.
And they're awesome. So Donna, at this time, not available.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, if you have a feature request and you think that would be valuable and you want to have TaxDome consider it, put in a feature request telling them exactly what in the action or activity feed would be helpful from the managing your client perspective and tell them why that's helpful to you. And that helps them prioritize that type of work in the future. So always do that. Carolyn had a question about the sending the chats. So Carolyn, you do not, as a solo, you don't need to worry about that. What that does is it just allows us to override who that original chat template is coming from to have it come from a team member if you don't want it from that firm owner, for example. So in your case, as a solo, you don't need to worry about that feature change.
Exactly. Unless you're super into job assignments and super into everything has to be correct in OCD.
That's going way into complexity mode. We want to keep it as simple as possible. So
I agree completely. Uh, that's it when it comes to major changes for the workflow. There's been some significant changes to the document side of TaxDome. First of being, let me just go ahead and get into my sample client. So right now, Nico's also showed you a little bit of a trick on how to open up a PDF, and when you open it up, you can expand it as well. But there's another option that we noticed that a lot of accountants use stamps, and they don't like remaking the same stamp all over again.
can you blame him for that? I mean, serious.
Nobody. No, nobody likes that. So we listened to the feedback and now we gave users an option to make a custom stamp and we create it. And if we want to reuse this stamp, we just click on this little save button right here. And from there, this stamp is going to be saved as a template. So anytime that I want to use it, I can just select it again, place it wherever I want to.
Ah, and Betty is not here today because Betty is the one that has been waiting for like 9 months for this. So she will be thrilled to know that that is finally available. So thank you for making her dreams come true.
I can't say that I was the sole person responsible for this, but that I may take 10% of the credit. Uh,
Well, thank you for pushing it forward. So Shanita, Betty, or excuse me, this stamp. So for example, Betty receives in her workflow, her unique workflow, she would one was always putting a paid stamp onto it, and there wasn't a paid stamp available. And so she was having to create that every time she wanted it. And so, it's another way of building systems within systems. And it's everybody's brain works a little bit differently or has a little nuance to their process that it just helps her know as she's going through the PDFs this has been paid or this has been managed. And then having those stamps is a way that you can do that. So good question. Nancy says she doesn't see the stamp icon when she opens it. It's that little, looks like a stamp on a pad. Yeah.
So you just need to click on this little arrow pointing down. Right now, it's probably set
Oh,
for
the
image.
image.
Yeah. So you just need to click this little arrow pointing down, click stamp, and then you can make your own custom stamp.
Yeah. Thank you. And Nancy, if you still don't see it, let us know.
Okay, perfect. So, uh, let me see. I believe it has to be there. It might, maybe you're looking at a signed document because a
Oh,
signed
wait.
document doesn't let you alter it. So let me see. Let me see. Yeah, it has to be a PDF.
Yeah. And Ben said, couldn't you add a column? And Ben, there's 7 ways to do everything in TaxDome. This was just a commonly requested feature. So use it as you please if you think that it will help you manage your stuff better. And that I think that that is a good way of doing it. So thank you for sharing. So let's move on to the next one just to mind time since we went a little over
Uh,
with the
no
tech
worries.
issues this morning or
No worries.
yesterday.
Back to the major thing that I also want to share. So I'm not sure if Nico showed this the last time as well. I believe he did, but I just want to reiterate the move option, which has been added to quickly move in a document from one client to the other. You can also designate which folders are going to receive that specific document. So anything that you want to move, you can move it from X to Y account to specific folder just by clicking on this little icon here with the 3 vertical dots. You hit move and you just designate the spot that it needs to go to. There's also one little thing that's been added as a formality, but for some people it's very important. Now, both you and your clients can download a signed document with a certificate. So what that means is basically a digital footprint or imprint of the client's IP address, the code, the time of the signature, et cetera, of all the critical details that someone needs for it to be in a way legally binding. So a signature with a certificate is basically just an audit trail, a physical audit trail of all the things that make it digitally valid. And I just don't want to download it right now. You can do it with a sample document. Just don't want to dox myself because it also contains the IP address.
Yeah. Thank you. And yes, this is a big one because I know that was a challenge for a lot of people, especially when using the KBA and having all of the details of that available for work papers and historical documentation management. So thank you for making that happen.
And no worries. And also, Donna, uh, the activity feed is just a start and it's going super fast. So all of the invoice related, payment related, everything that is mission critical to your firm, being there is just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So all of these updates are basically being churned out by devs week after week. Let me see is if there's anything else. There's just two minor little changes. So right now for invoices, before I believe you could delete invoices in bulk, and it was a little bit of an issue when you had invoices, for example, with offline payments. Now you can just in bulk send them, delete them, and and here's the big one, before you actually delete these invoices, you have to type out all caps delete. It's the same process with accounts. So nobody can say that I accidentally deleted all of these things. There's no accidentally deleted. I've accidentally deleted accounts. No, you did it. You archived them,
There was
deleted them.
intention there.
There's intention there, but if there's, good intention, you can delete these very easily in bulk. And there's one little thing that I've been asking for some time and product delivered. It's related to services. So we noticed an issue in where clients change their services every single year. So
Mm.
nobody has the same 1040 price for 10 years in a row. It changes basically 3% year over year. And that's the universal standard. So when you change the service and when you want to edit it, so let's say from 11 to 12, now you can update all of the templates, including this service. So if this
Mm.
specific service is related to 20 templates before, you had to update every single template individually. Now, if this service line item is related to an invoice template, recurring invoice template, or a proposal template, you just need to click here, update templates, save, and whatever service this template was related to is going to pick it up, change it, so you don't have to do it manually.
Cool. That's nice. Because I think a lot of people don't realize that didn't realize that it didn't update in the past. And so they would send it out and it'd be the wrong price and they'd have to go and edit and, do all the things. So that'll be great.
Nobody likes manual work.
Only from the date of change moving forward. So yes, so it would not like if an invoice got you like you had an invoice template, if that got used to send something to a client, that would not be affected. It would only be the template. So going forward, those templates would say $12 instead of $10 in his example. So again, it wouldn't do anything to any invoices that got sent using the previous template.
I increase prices by a very low margin. That's
Yeah.
not a
Your
lot of
tax
profit for
returns
me.
need to go up, friend. You're breaking the whole industry.
I'm kicking people out of the water with competition. Okay, so there's a question from Carolyn. Let me see. Yeah, there's a question from Donna. So when it comes to job and activity feed, that is still a work in progress. We're working on a solution that is going to be semi-related to reporting, in where uh, job entry to a stage will be recorded. So it's not just total job duration that is going to be visible, but if a job hits a stage, that time will be recorded, and when it's moved to another stage, it's going to be recorded. So it's a little bit of a work that our backend devs have to, get some man hours in it, but they're basically going to do that eventually. So it's not something that's coming soon, but it's being worked on and it's a work in progress.
One thing that I've been thinking of, I'm just going to throw this out there because it's the way my brain works, is when we start getting this data and we start having access to more data, all of a sudden we're like, oh, but what about this? And what about this? And what about this?
Yep.
And what I want to encourage you guys to think about is there are times when having that information is valuable, but we can overwhelm ourselves with the small minutia details when we should be thinking more at like the 5,000-foot strategy level of, are my workflows working for me? What are the optimizations I can make to my workflow to make it work better for me so that we're not worrying about the date and time? And I recognize like there are very specific scenarios that you're probably referring to, Donna, where that would be helpful. I'm not saying that data wouldn't be helpful, but I don't want people to get bogged down in this minutia detail of like, now I have to make sure that we're like always 5 days in this stage and no more. You're going to start spinning yourself out, especially as solo practitioners and small teams. You can wear yourself out from the stress of like trying to hit these markers of stuff. And I want people to just kind of consider that when you start getting into data, because as small practices and small businesses, TaxDome is running a 400-person business. At that point, having that data, you can also have the infrastructure to actually manage those types of details and those small minutia data pieces. But as small practices, which is who we serve, I just want you to think about that. Don't get bogged down in the data details. Like, still keep your business at like 5,000 foot. How can I work smarter? How can I work more efficient? How can I optimize to give a better client experience? Those are the things you should be focusing on.
I couldn't agree more. I'm not a business owner, but if I was, I'd be a millionaire. Probably somewhere. But that's it for me when it comes to the new features. There's not a lot that was released, mostly because we were focusing a lot on stability, a lot on making sure that everything works well through tax
Yeah.
season, polishing existing functionality as well. But big changes are coming in Q2. So don't want to. I'm not sales, so I'm not giving out big promises. But a major part that we're giving to clients is we're working on the bookkeeping functionality of TaxDome, just keeping track of the general ledgers of clients, reconciliations, sending 1099s and all of that stuff. Tax non-payments is also something that's hopefully getting closer to being actually finished. So one step at a
Great.
time. So those two are game changers personally, and
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
everyone's gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm excited for those too. Yeah, I think TaxDome is headed in a very healthy trajectory. Um, Stay on top of what's changing in TaxDome, guys, is why you're here at this call. So I'm preaching to the choir here. But it's really important that you do keep up with where things are at and the features that are coming out. It doesn't mean you have to adopt all of them, but it is definitely you want to understand what they are because they could be massive game changers for you, and you don't want to stay like I had some people, I've seen a couple comments of like, I'm doing it the same way I did it 3 years ago, and it makes me like bite my nails a little bit and anxiety for them because things have gotten so much better and we have so much more capacity for how we can assign out work and how we can communicate with our clients and how we can communicate internally and even just manage our own systems within the system and the tool that it only comes when you are knowledgeable about what the features can do and how they can be utilized to really optimize the way you work. And that's what you guys should be thinking about over this summer period where it's a little bit quieter. I know y'all want to go out on vacation and like check out for a while because you just busted buns, but let's be thinking about how we can optimize things and move forward. All right, there was one question about 2FA, and Nico did respond there. So yes, 2FA, we had a conversation at the beginning of this video. If you want to go back and look at that, Felicia, I will be posting the replay shortly. I think that it was valuable. We had Peter come in and he talked about it and kind of TaxDome's perspective of what just happened and why 2FA is happening and how we can work around it. Thank you all. This has been great. Vinod, you did amazing. I must say, you were thoughtful, you were thorough, you were clear and gave us a great presentation. So I'm very excited. We're going to be doing these presentations quarterly with Vidad going forward, as I understand it. And I'm excited to have the next one. TaxDome is moving to a quarterly release cycle. Can we talk about that real quick, Vidad, and what people can expect with that? What does that mean that there will be no changes between the quarterly releases, or like what does that look like?
So it's not so that we're just gonna wait. It's more so that big changes and big improvements need time to implement thoroughly.
Mhm.
So we don't want to release something that at first that gets released and then we're going to work on it as we go. We want to release as much of a polished product, and we're going to have all of these big features be released in quarterly iterations.
Okay.
So all of those big up and coming features, since they need more time to be worked on, and demand a lot more developers to get it function properly, they're gonna be big pushes and they need a lot of time to be worked on. But when it comes to quality of life updates, minor updates, changes to functionality, UX changes, and every minor thing,
Mhm.
that's almost a weekly process.
Okay.
We have weekly, bi-weekly, monthly updates. But when it comes to those big pushes, when it comes to those big functionalities
Mhm.
internally, and I believe also externally, it makes sense to divide those by quarters. Makes
Yeah.
makes people wait them a little bit. It's almost like Christmas, you know. It's like I'm waiting for Q3 just for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and to your point, it's when you can make sure that what's coming out is a solid product and it's not, you know, almost there iteration one and then iteration two is really grand. It's less frustrating, I guess, maybe as the end user. So one question about beta then, will beta continue to get like kind of iteration one refinement, iteration two refinement, and then like grand rollout, just so that those that are beta users can know what to expect?
Exactly. So essentially, betas early tester.
Okay.
So every MVP that's released in iterations will hit beta first, and all of those will be segmented into beta. So beta might even get things 3 months, 4 months ahead of time, but it's usually 60% ready or 80% ready or something along those lines.
Hmm.
Functional, but not as we've envisioned it. So that's why we have the early access beta program. But essentially, as it says, beta, they always get to beta testers.
Awesome. 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 And then the dates for the releases, someone asked that. I have them here. So the releases the next one will be June 20th, September 20th, and December 20th. So, and then I'm guessing 2026, you'll have something like Aprilish.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
we're looking at like a 3, 4 month segment and then 3, 4 months and then so on and so forth.
Yeah. So they're thinking about you guys. They know they don't want to mess with your tax season. So they're doing the best that they can and avoiding, with the exception of what happened this week, like those critical fixes that have to happen are they going to do during tax season. So it will be good. It will be good. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you being here live with us. The questions have been great, and we look forward to our next quarterly. So we'll see you guys in July. So we're going to be a couple weeks behind the actual release date. We'll have the dad back and we'll be at one of these Wednesday sessions and we'll share with you guys what's new. And I'm excited to see what it is. So thank you all for being here. Have a great day and go get a rest. Go have a nap. You've all earned it so much, so
I'm
much.
gonna have an app.
I I'll take one for you in sympathy.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Nika.